Hi Virgo, welcome to your August 2019 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So in August, this is very unusual in the sense that there are clusters of planets in one sign. And this means that there's an extreme emphasis in certain areas. And for you, these two particular areas are the 12th house to begin the month, and then ending with the first house, which is going to be planets in your signs. I hope I didn't say signs. Planets in your sign of Virgo. So as the month begins, we have the Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mars all in Leo. And this is your 12th house. And at the time of, we could say August 1st, this is when the new moon energy is still very much in play because, well, where I live, it's happening on July 31st. Maybe in some parts of the world it's going to be on August 1st, but it's within that 24-hour period. And so in addition to having a new moon in Leo, we have the Sun in Leo, we have Venus in Leo, and we have Mars in Leo. And so in the 12th house, Virgo, being the last house, and by the way, being the house of your opposite sign, Pisces, there's a connection you have with this house by virtue of it being in opposition to you, and Pisces being your complementary sign. You ruled the 6th house that deals with health matters of a physical variety. It deals with your work habits, and this includes, and also the work environment, the workspace, your coworkers, and things like that. And it also includes your daily routine, how you organize your day, maybe your attitude towards a certain schedule. So it's like all about organization, the 6th house. And this is the house that you rule. So when you have planets in this opposite house, it's going to be kind of like the opposite of that. It's going to be more of a spiritual thing than a material thing. The 12th house is a water house because it's ruled by Pisces. It's all about past lives and the spiritual dimensions, not the physical. It's about mental health, not physical health. Although I would say that it's connected to mental health and the subconscious mind, because mental health is something that is more abstract and may very well be connected to one's spiritual, how can I say it, status, where, whether or not they are connected to spirit in a very conscious way, where they are taking comfort from that perspective, which kind of puts everything in place and makes things that seem crazy, makes them seem sane. Because if you're just living in this world and you're just reacting to things on a mundane level, it is easy to get depressed or anxious because you're just believing in all this madness. And it's not using religion as an opiate. I don't know if that was Karl Marx or whoever said that. Not using that as an escape or anything like that, which, by the way, is 12th house too, is addiction and escape. But simply to anchor yourself, ironically. Anchor yourself spiritually. So anyway, the 12th house doesn't have boundaries, is very much, it can feel like very dreamy. It is about dreams and about the things that trip you up, your self-defeating patterns. So suffice it to say is this can be a time where you really gain some important insights into yourself, Virgo. You are an analytical person to begin with, so this is not really deviating from your typical pattern, but you may be viewing things in too worldly a sense, and this gives you more of a higher perspective. And, you know, and some of you may even be delving into this through some kind of psychic exploration, hypnosis, past life regression. I mean, I'm not saying that everybody who's a Virgo is going to be doing this at the beginning of August, but this may just be part of what you've been getting into anyway lately. And Venus in the 12th house can be something related to a love situation where you are perhaps dealing with somebody or recognizing somebody as a soulmate or potential soulmate or twin flame, and kind of viewing them in that way. The moon here makes your dreams very psychic, more than typical, and it can even be you gaining insight because of this heightened intuition about your life in general. This is the last house, so it's about tying up loose ends before you have your solar return. And, you know, the official solar return is going to be on your actual birthday. So just to kind of reiterate that. And on the 11th, Jupiter turns direct in Sagittarius. And this has been a transit through your 4th house, Virgo. And maybe there have been some things that are domestic that were not quite how they should have been. And now things are going to progress. So when Jupiter goes into the 4th house, and this has been since, I don't know, last November, I believe it was. And Jupiter will be in Sagittarius until early December, just to let you know. But perhaps you have been trying to deal with some real estate matter, and now you'll be able to. Jupiter can give luck to a situation, depending on what house it's transiting, as well as even money, a sense of expansion, so bigger and better types of things in some cases. Maybe you want to move and you want a bigger place. Uranus is going retrograde on the same day in your 9th house. Again, you know, Uranus in the 9th house could be about studying occult types of things, or, well, the 9th house is more of the traditional religious the religious traditions, I think. You know, the 8th house is more of a cult, but Uranus itself can promote unusual things. So it could be like a religious sect that is rather unusual in some way, radical, apart from, like, if it is religious, it could be something that is not in the mainstream. That's why I said kind of a cult, but I meant a little bit renegade. It also can be because when I was thinking of a cult, I was thinking of intuition. And Uranus is associated with intuition. It's actually associated with astrology. So if you have any desire to study astrology, but also in the context of philosophy, which the 9th house can represent, or just basic religious teachings, then that would be a great pairing at this time. Mercury on this date of the 11th is also going into Leo, back into Leo, which is a sign where it retrograded. So it's really coming out of its shadow at this point, but it's going into the shadows of the 12th house. So it started out there and went back into your 11th house. So Mercury is going into this place. Now Mercury is your ruler. So this makes it more of an important transit. I don't know if some of you experience Mercury retrograde in a more dramatic fashion in some way, especially more catastrophic. Well, because I don't want to overblow it, but you know what I mean. If it affects you greater than the average sign, who knows? Maybe if you feel that it does, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just assume it's just like everybody else. Okay. On the 15th, what I wanted to say though, Mercury is in the 12th house. This is something, because this is where the retrograde began, something that is connected to spiritual aspirations may have been in play, because I'm getting this theme, and this could be some sort of studying. Mercury is about the mind, and in the 12th house, it's not the kind of concrete knowledge or practical knowledge that we use on a daily basis. This is more of kind of maybe studying in a very isolated environment, or just like I was going to say like a monastery type of a thing. I can't think of other examples of this. Solitary environment where you can really do a lot of contemplation. And maybe it's not so much about direct thinking. It kind of reminds me of the Four of Swords in the Tarot. But it's also not the kind of thinking that we associate with practicality or even lucidity sometimes. It's very, very hazy, but very creative and inspired in that way, and very intuitive. On the 15th, we have a full moon at 22 degrees of Aquarius. This is your 6th house, which you rule, that I went into in great detail before. So this could be some kind of culmination in the area of practical living. Perhaps there is something going on, Virgo, with Uranus going retrograde, where you are working in the type of environment where you can be sent somewhere at a moment's notice around the world. So Uranus in the 9th house, can be a lot of traveling, but in a very haphazard sort of a way, where the person doesn't have, like some people, they get assigned to a certain country, they may be there for a set amount of time. With Uranus in the 9th house, if you're working overseas, you may have quite unpredictable changes in where you go. And when Uranus goes retrograde, this can even be more the case. So because of this, I'm thinking that with the full moon in Aquarius, some of you may not like this and you decide to quit, or this is simply that you are getting a raise or, a promotion where you have put in a certain amount of time and effort, maybe even getting training perhaps in some field that allows you to qualify for a different type of job, that one that has a higher status. This could be, what else? Well, a full moon in the 6th house, you may be made aware of a health situation, and something comes about that makes you aware of that. You may feel the urge to detox full moons are times when people tend to, I mean, it's advised in different circles to do detoxes at the time of the full moon and afterwards during the waning moon. Now, interestingly, as I stated, you have had a lot of energy in the 12th house, which is about addictions and things like that. So for some of you, you may be cleaning up your act and doing something that creates a whole new, perhaps a whole new eating style or just lifestyle changes to improve your health. On the 18th, Mars goes into Virgo, so this is the first foray into your sign. It's kind of like a scout in that first house. And for Virgos, this is a nice shot in the arm because you tend to be kind of reticent in a lot of ways. I got so much flack for calling I forgot what I called Virgos one time. I got so many thumbs down. I think I said shrinking violets or wallflowers or something like that, you know. And what I mean is, I'm not saying that you're just complete wusses. What I'm saying is that you don't tend to be individuals who try to throw your weight around. Okay, you know, you tend to be very, you know, pretty humble. And, you know, I'm contrasting you with Leo. If somebody has a sun or a rising sign in Leo, I might say that they, if they're not feeling very balanced inside, they might try to bully their way to do something. Whereas even if you're not feeling balanced, probably about the worst thing you would do is carp, you know, bitch about something, criticize the situation. See, I can say this because I have Moon in Virgo, so a lot of these things are going to show up in similar ways with, you know, little nuances depending on what position the Virgo placement is in. So, you know, hopefully you're not going to thumb me down for what I just said, because I do feel that Mars in your sign is very helpful to you, whereas Mars in Leo, when Leos are dealing with it, that might be really put them at a disadvantage because they already have innate confidence, and having Mars in their sign may make them downright cocky. But yeah, so Mars is in your first house. You may feel the urge to be like working out. Again, this could be from that full moon in mid-month that you feel like you want to improve your health, and that's one of the ways that you determine to do it. Mars in the first house can simply be trying to promote yourself for some reason. On the 21st, Venus goes into Virgo, and Venus goes in that first house, and this is great if you want to kind of like get your hair cut or styled. It's more than just getting a haircut. It's wanting to maybe look nicer and improve your looks in some way. And so you may get a new outfit. Perhaps this has something to do with your birthday, where you're treating yourself to new clothes or a new hairstyle. It can make you more attractive to others. And in terms of what that word attractive really means, which is kind of bringing to you that which you want, which is really what the law of attraction is talking about, is like, you know, having, you know, being like a magnet for good things coming to you. On the 23rd, the sun goes into Virgo, so here's your solar return in a generalized way. So the sun goes into the first house. That can be very energizing for you, healing, and make you a lot more extroverted than some of you tend to be. Come on, Virgo. You know that some of you tend towards shyness. And so having Mars and the Sun in the first house can do wonders for that. On the 29th, Mercury goes into Virgo as well. So your ruler going into the first house, being in alignment with your Sun, for instance, is great to have Mercury in the same sign because it allows you to communicate with a consistent message. And the alternative is, when you have Mercury in the 12th house and you're Virgo, you may be like giving the appearance of being all together, and then you open your mouth and you start talking about these unusual things, based on maybe some of your recent spiritual adventures, and people are like, whoa. On the 30th, there's going to be a new moon at 6 degrees of Virgo. So those early degree placements, especially I would say from about the 27th and even going into September for a couple of days, that this is going to really be strong with you, this new moon. But for every one of you, you're going to experience this. And so set your intentions. What do you wish to be reflecting upon 12 months from now that has to do with any kind of career goals or personal goals? Maybe you want to live in a different type of environment and you have no clue how to really research this properly and make it happen. But you may have all kinds of goals. The point is to write them down, to, kind of so you can see the steps that are going to have to be taken in order to make it happen. It's not just about wishes, although I'm in favor of new moon wishes too, but just from the practical standpoint of not just waiting around for these things to just drop in your lap, but actually trying to make them happen from your own standpoint and what you can do to make it happen. Okay, that's what I have for you, Virgo. Happy birthday, and I wish you all the best. If you'd like a personal reading, I'm offering natal chart interpretations for the like looking at your chart, seeing where your planets are, and interpreting that, as well as looking at the astrological trends for you in the coming year. I will provide a link below where you can access that, and good luck to you. Take care. Bye.